My name is Kara, and I'll be your host today. And as a lot of you know, my co-host PJ. So we all both welcome you here. We're excited to get to know you better, and we'll also share our direct contacts in the chat as well. So be on the lookout for those. All right, so I just want to get us started off with a very brief definition of what culinary tourism is, so that we have a good understanding moving forward into the presentation. So culinary tourism is a multifaceted tool that not only supports local businesses, it also enriches the culture of the destination. So by highlighting and showcasing the unique flavors that your region has to offer, a culinary tourism creates a mutually beneficial relationship between the region's locals and visitors. And so now that we have a basic understanding of what it is, we'll just take a quick look at an overview for today's webinar. So today we're going to take a good look into the North Carolina culinary scene. We'll look at some reemerging and some new market trends, some experiences and attractions that are being shared now. We'll also talk about the power of culinary tourism for rural developments as an economic driver and how it helps to position the region. We'll touch on cross-industry synergy because some of you may wonder, other than a lot of the delicious foods, how exactly do you fit in? So if you have a small business or another particular niche or industry, we'll touch on why culinary tourism is still extremely relevant and beneficial for you to partake in. We'll look at some key tools and platforms for you to use and share your strategy. We'll also glance at some roadblocks that you may encounter and a couple of real-world North Carolina success stories for culinary tourism marketing and how they can help you get started on brainstorming. And then finally, at the end, I'll share a quick checklist with you for your next steps. We'll get together for a quick discussion and a Q&A. And so if you have any questions or comments throughout, you can feel free to throw them in the chat and we will get together at the end. All right, so let's get started. So as we all know, here in North Carolina, we celebrate a lot of diverse and local flavors that reflect the diversity of our regions and our communities. So from the West Mountains all the way over to the coast, each North Carolina region really boasts its unique culinary identity. So whether it be tangy barbecue or coastal seafood or Southern cooking, each region's culinary identity tells a unique story of history, tradition, and innovations. And all of these aspects can be leveraged together to effectively promote culinary tourism and marketing. And the regions of North Carolina also offer several unforgettable dining experiences as well. And this goes far beyond just the dish itself. So North Carolina's culinary scene, it's not just about food, it's about the ambiance and the history and the warmth of Southern hospitality. There's also a plethora of food events and festivals throughout the state each year. These events offer a great chance for collaboration and partnerships across county lines. And they also offer the public a chance to visit your region and to learn and connect with the vibrant culinary community. So these events also create memorable experiences by offering immersive experiences that resonate with the target audience. It also gives you a chance to engage with local chefs, farmers, and artisans that really keep the region thriving. And so North Carolina food events are really a magnet for culinary tourists seeking unique experiences. And a great example of this that we'll touch on a little bit more in just a bit is the Barbecue Festival of Lexington, North Carolina, as this event draws over 200,000 people each year. And then for a fun and adventurous demographic, the North Carolina regions also present culinary trails and food crawls. So food crawls are much like bar crawls in that they're a great way to explore the city. And the idea is that you have this carefully curated trail that leads you to hidden gems and lets you taste your way through the town. And so this is a great opportunity as well for marketing partnerships and cross promotion. And so while we know that the culinary scene in North Carolina is thriving, culinary tourism is not just about food, and it's important to remember that. It's really about the community taking steps to work together toward the shared goal of economic success. And so culinary tourism drives economic growth by strategically promoting the culinary landscape in rural areas. And so the allure of these food trips that are created and these experiences help to attract new and returning visitors. But it also injects revenue into not only the food sector, but also into lodging, transportation, and more, which helps leads to the retention of small businesses. And so, additionally, culinary tourism helps to create a strong regional identity by showcasing the distinctive flavors or niche of the intended region and helping to position it as a food hotspot. So it helps to foster a collaborative environment in the community as the food experiences bring many people together in celebration, and it also strengthens the overall appeal of the region as a whole. So it fosters an environment where many businesses and locals can work together to achieve something great. And then finally, culinary tourism and marketing attributes to sustainable tourism in that it works to balance growth with cultural preservation and economic responsibility, and it also works to promote locally sourced ingredients. So cross-industry synergy plays a big role here too, because as we mentioned, you may be wondering, where do you fit into culinary tourism? So, collaborative marketing efforts equal a broader audience. So, by joining forces with partners and stakeholders, we can pull resources and we can leverage a collective reach. Collaborative marketing also allows us to tap into different networks, which extends our message to a broader audience that may have otherwise been inaccessible. This synergy helps us to create a united front. It really amplifies the impact of our marketing campaigns as well and increases overall visibility. Additionally, cross-industry special events can help to enhance experiences and itinerary as the special events work as immersive touch points to enhance the experience. Cross promotion also allows us to showcase the diversity of our offerings by collaborating with complementary businesses. So, by working together and bundling products and services, we can create enticing packages that appeal to a broader audience. So, this not only boosts sales, but it also creates a strong sense of community among businesses, which creates a win win for everybody involved. And then finally, cross-industry synergy helps with destination branding and positioning the region as a cultural hub. So through strategic collaborations and promotions, we can contribute to the region's overall branding. And this not only attracts tourists, but it also helps to instill pride in locals, which fosters a sense of community identity and in turn further fuels economic growth. So now that we've looked at some cross-industry relations, let's take a quick look at key channels because in crafting a tourism marketing strategy, it's essential to determine your key channels for promotion. And so by identifying your most effective platforms, whether that be social media, travel websites, publications, and others, you can maximize the reach of your target audience. So high quality images also play a pivotal role here in capturing the essence of your offerings and enticing potential visitors, crafting compelling stories around the unique aspects of your culinary experiences is really important to create a narrative that sparks interest and sparks emotion. And then to maintain relevance and also maintain credibility in your field, you want to ensure that your information and your photos are clear and up to date. And this consistency contributes to the overall effectiveness of your marketing efforts. And then lastly, leveraging local collaborations and partnerships to enhance your marketing efforts. And again, really tapping into those existing networks with discussions and engagement efforts will help to amplify your message. So I do want to touch on a few roadblocks because sometimes marketing information can be overwhelming, and though a lot of this information will help set you up and prepare you for success, that's not to say that you're not going to encounter roadblocks along the way. And sometimes roadblocks can really overwhelm us and keep us from being productive, but also keep us from being consistent in the long term. And so these are just some small key tips to remember when you encounter some roadblocks. Overcoming challenges requires determination and resourcefulness in general. And so while a lot of you may be working with a smaller budget or a lack of budget, and this sometimes limits advertising options, we can turn that around by focusing our consistency on cost-effective channels, cost-effective platforms, working on strategies for organic growth, and leveraging partnerships that can yield high impact results. In the absence of high quality cameras or equipment, we can utilize newer smartphones, free editing apps. Collaborating with local photographers is also a great way to update your images as well. And then moreover, those that are less familiar with website building and social media in general can make a small commitment to invest some time into learning the basics. And so we created Marketing Mondays so that we can help guide you through a lot of these challenges. We have many more insightful episodes coming up on social media and tracking analytics. So we do want you to use us as a resource. There's additional free resources to sign up for on the Uplift website, including social media trainings, design trainings, website trainings, and more. So moving past roadblocks, let's take a look at a couple of real-world North Carolina success stories. So these are a couple of success stories in some different regions across the state that are really putting some of these plans into action, and we can use them to help guide us forward. Okay, so first up again, we'll look at Lexington, North Carolina. Lexington stands as an example of successful culinary tourism marketing, primarily owed to its renowned Lexington style barbecue. This city has masterfully established a strong brand identity around its distinctive barbecue culture. It draws visitors far and wide, hundreds of thousands a year for their barbecue. They've positioned themselves as a food hub with a singular focus on authentic barbecue. They've really captured the essence of their offering. So they've determined their offering and then captured the essence of it. And their success is further attributed to compelling storytelling. They weave narratives around the rich history and the unique flavors of the Lexington style barbecue. This entices both locals and tourists to savor the flavor. And the town is also utilizing several cross-industry events, including their barbecue festivals. So this is a great example. We also have next up Farm Cafe in Boone, which a fun fact is actually where PJ and I are located. And so a Farm Cafe, their main goal is to serve the underserved in the community. They're a great example of a success story in culinary tourism marketing because they offer an immersive experience and a strong commitment to give back. The cafe has a very unique approach with both locals and visitors. They actively participate in cross promotions with local businesses, local farmers, all community initiatives. Farm Cafe has really created a collaborative ecosystem that extends far beyond the walls of their restaurant. This immersive dining experience, coupled with their dedication to social responsibility, helps to position Farm Cafe as a standout destination where visitors not only enjoy a great meal, but they're contributing to a meaningful cause. So this makes it a great model for culinary tourism success. And so our next example is out of Whiteville, North Carolina, the North Carolina Pecan Festival. This is a great prime example of culinary tourism marketing because they're really showcasing a unique cross-industry culinary event. There's so many different industries going on here. There's food vendors, craft vendors, local artisans, live entertainment, musicians. So they're really emphasizing cross-industry event, and they're working with strategic partnerships and collaborations across various industries, which creates a diverse and enriching experience for all attendees. And then our last example is the Avery County Chamber of Commerce. So the Avery County Chamber of Commerce is really doing what we're pitching, is small efforts for a big impact. These are small efforts. This is a great place to start, but it's really, really effective. They are successfully establishing themselves in culinary tourism marketing by consistency in messaging and sharing. So there's this strategic relationship building and their collaborations with local businesses. The Chamber is fostering a strong sense of community and support within Avery County. Notably, the Chamber shines a weekly spotlight on local restaurants, which creates a platform that highlights the diverse cultural offerings in the region. And so by consistently sharing these highlights and sharing these posts about their local restaurant, they're positioning themselves as a key promoter of the area's culinary tourism and contributing to the overall success of the region. So these are just some good ideas to look at, kind of delve into to get you started. And then speaking of getting started, we do have a quick checklist and form for you to take with you today. So we try to make it easy for you. There is a QR code on the screen. To access it, you open your camera, scan the code, and click the link, and it will take you to a Google form. And this is going to be a checklist for you, which you can fill out and print off, fill out and download, print off and fill out, whatever's best, but it's just a good way to get started on your culinary tourism marketing strategy. And so I'm just going to go through the questions on it real quick, just so you have a good understanding of how to fill it out. Okay, so for number one, we're going to start to brainstorm some ways to get to know your culinary community and forge relationships, because as we touched on earlier, those community connections are key for success. So for you moving forward, so we're just going to jot down some ideas of ways that you can get to know the culinary community in your region and how you can follow up with them to maintain those relationships. And then for number two, we're going to determine your niche. So for instance, with Lexington, it was barbecue. Maybe your region already has a niche. Maybe you're not sure what it is and you want to brainstorm, or maybe you're not with the chamber or the county. You're running a local business. So you'll write down your own offerings, who is your target audience, and how you're connected to the culinary scene. So knowing this, knowing your offerings and who your target audience is going to lead you into question three, because you need to know this before you can determine your best sharing platforms and key channels. So for number three, we're going to write down our key channels. You can write down ones that you're currently using. You can write down ones that you would like to start engaging in, or ones that you would like to research. Then for number four, we're going to create a small plan to get up-to-date information on your digital platforms, because like we talked about before, it's very important for consistency, effectiveness, and credibility that your websites and your social media platforms are up to date, your pictures look good. So we're just going to jot down here some ideas of when we'll research current trends, when we'll update our existing website and social media, and some steps that we can take to do this, some small steps that we can take to do this. For number five, we're going to brainstorm 2 to 3 ideas for this strategy implementation. So for example, maybe like Avery County, you'll share a restaurant spotlight, or you'll share a new connections post every week. Another way to start your implementation and start getting involved is to simply start engaging and start the discussion in other groups and on other connections posts. And then finally, we're going to craft 2 to 3 stories to get you started. So we're going to work on crafting 2 to 3 memorable stories to incorporate your brand with culinary tourism in your region. So you can highlight collaborations, you can highlight upcoming events, And I think it's important to remember during this portion that stories do not have to be novels. They can be 2 to 3 effective sentences that really highlight what's going on, and just make it exciting. All right. So, in summarizing our exploration here of culinary tourism marketing, there's a few key takeaways that I want you to take with you today. So, if you get anything from this, take it from this slide. First, like we talked about, the culinary landscape of North Carolina is extremely delicious and diverse. And there's so many opportunities, there's so many great opportunities for you to grab here. Community collaborations and partnerships are key, especially for that cross-industry synergy that we talked about. Stories and experiences are always winners because, as PJ mentioned last week in our adventure tourism episode, the audience really wants to feel something and they want to feel a connection. And so you can strengthen that connection through some strong storytelling. The implementation of a strong digital and social media platform is absolutely essential for effective audience engagement. So utilizing your key channels and platforms really allow you to establish meaningful connections, share compelling content, and also to cultivate a sense of community. And then finally, it's also really imperative to just recognize as a whole that culinary tourism is a significant economic driver. And so by understanding the full scope of the economic impact of culinary tourism, we can help ensure our long-term sustained success. Okay, so that concludes our presentation. So again, if you have any questions or comments, you can put them in the chat now, and I'll have my co-host PJ work with me now to let me know if we have any. Thank you. Thank you for joining.